Some acts of kindness ripple through time in ways we never expect. Others crash into our lives like lightning, illuminating everything we thought we knew about fate, fortune, and the power of a generous heart. Marcus Chen never believed in fairy tales, but on a rainy Tuesday evening in Portland, Oregon, he was about to discover that sometimes the most extraordinary transformations begin with the simplest choice to help a stranger in need. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Working 2 jobs to support his 10-year-old daughter Emma, Marcus had learned that every dollar counted and every minute mattered. His 2010 Honda pickup truck wasn't much to look at, with its faded blue paint and temperamental heater, but it was reliable transportation that got him to his morning shift at the warehouse and his evening job delivering food for a local restaurant. What he didn't know was that this ordinary Tuesday would mark the beginning of a story that would challenge everything he believed about luck, love, and the invisible threads that connect strangers across the vast distances of different worlds. The afternoon rain had been falling steadily for 3 hours when Marcus Chen pulled into the employee parking lot of Pacific Northwest Logistics, water streaming down his windshield in sheets that made the world look like an impressionist painting. At 34, Marcus had developed the efficient movements of a man who understood that time was the one resource he could never afford to waste. His shift at the warehouse would end at 6, giving him exactly 30 minutes to grab dinner from the vending machine before starting his evening route for Cascade Eats, the food delivery service that helped him cover Emma's school expenses and keep their small apartment heated through Portland's damp winters. The warehouse work was physically demanding but straightforward. Marcus operated a forklift, moving pallets of goods from trucks to storage areas with the methodical precision of someone who had perfected his routine through 2 years of practice. His co-workers respected his work ethic and quiet competence, but Marcus rarely participated in the casual conversations that filled break times. Not out of unfriendliness, but because his mind was always calculating the next task, the next payment, the next small challenge in the careful balance he maintained between providing for Emma and spending enough time with her to be the father she deserved. Emma Chen was the center of Marcus's universe, a bright and curious 4th grader who had inherited her mother's artistic talents and her father's determined spirit. Lisa had died in a car accident 3 years earlier, leaving Marcus to navigate single parenthood with a grief that never fully disappeared but had transformed into fierce protective love for their daughter. Emma attended Roosevelt Elementary, where she excelled in art class and struggled slightly with math, spending her after-school hours at the community center's homework program while Marcus worked his evening shift. Their apartment was a modest 2-bedroom unit in southeast Portland, decorated with Emma's artwork and furnished with pieces collected from thrift stores and yard sales. Marcus had painted Emma's room a cheerful lavender color she'd chosen from hardware store samples, and he'd built her a desk from reclaimed wood, where she worked on school projects and drew elaborate pictures of fantastical creatures and faraway places. The living room held a comfortable couch facing a small television, and the kitchen was equipped with the basic appliances needed to prepare simple, nutritious meals on a budget that required careful planning and creative cooking. The financial reality of their life was a constant undercurrent in Marcus's daily decisions. After rent, utilities, groceries, and Emma's school supplies, there was little room for extras. Birthday presents were carefully saved for months in advance, and unexpected expenses like car repairs or medical bills required juggling other necessities. Marcus had learned to find satisfaction in small victories. Emma's excited reports about good grades, successful completion of a challenging delivery route during bad weather, or the rare evening when they could afford to order pizza and watch a movie together. His morning routine began at 5:30 with coffee and a quick review of the weather forecast, followed by preparing Emma's lunch and checking that she had everything needed for school. Mrs. Rodriguez, their elderly neighbor, helped by walking Emma to the bus stop on mornings when Marcus had to leave early, a kindness he repaid by helping with her grocery shopping and small household repairs. Emma's evening routine was equally structured. Homework at the community center, dinner together when Marcus returned from his delivery shift, bedtime stories when time allowed, and always the reassurance that despite their modest circumstances, they were a team facing the world together. The delivery job required Marcus to use his personal vehicle, a 2010 Honda Ridgeline that he'd bought used 3 years earlier. The truck wasn't fancy, but it was reliable and spacious enough to carry multiple food orders efficiently. Marcus had installed a cooler system to keep orders at proper temperatures and added extra lighting to help him navigate unfamiliar addresses during evening deliveries. The work paid by delivery plus tips, creating an income that varied based on weather, season, and the generosity of customers. Good nights could add an extra $60 to his weekly earnings, while slow nights might yield only $20, making budgeting a constant exercise in cautious optimism. Portland's evening traffic was particularly heavy that Tuesday, with rain making drivers more cautious and causing delays that would compress Marcus's dinner break to just 15 minutes. He'd learned to keep protein bars and instant coffee in his delivery bag for nights when there wasn't time for a proper meal. The community center where Emma spent her after-school hours was run by dedicated volunteers who understood that many working parents depended on their services, providing not just supervision but also tutoring help and nutritious snacks for children whose families operated on tight budgets. As Marcus finished his warehouse shift and prepared to transition to his evening job, he reflected on the routine that had sustained them through 3 years of single parenthood. The work was demanding, and the financial pressure was constant, but there was also satisfaction in their small victories and the knowledge that Emma was thriving despite their modest circumstances. She was developing into a confident, creative young person who understood the value of hard work and the importance of treating others with kindness, lessons that Marcus hoped would serve her well regardless of what the future might bring. The employee parking lot was nearly empty when Marcus reached his truck, most of his co-workers having left promptly at closing time to begin their own evening routines. The rain continued to fall with the steady persistence that characterized Pacific Northwest weather, creating puddles that reflected the orange glow of sodium streetlights. Marcus checked his phone for the evening's first delivery order, noting that it would take him to the Pearl District, an upscale area where tips tended to be generous but parking was challenging. He started the engine, adjusted the rearview mirror, and prepared to begin the second half of his working day. The drive from the warehouse to his first pickup location would normally take 25 minutes, but the rain had slowed traffic to a crawl along the major arterials. Marcus used the time to mentally review his route, calculating the most efficient sequence for multiple deliveries while accounting for traffic patterns and the time required for each stop. Fuel costs ate into his earnings, so route optimization was essential for maintaining profitability. He developed a system for tracking his expenses and income that helped. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now, back to the story. Him identify the most lucrative delivery areas and times. Information that guided his scheduling decisions. Emma's school had sent home a permission slip for a field trip to the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, an opportunity that would cost $35 Marcus didn't have readily available. The trip was optional but represented the kind of enriching experience he wanted Emma to have, even when it required creative financial maneuvering. He'd been considering picking up extra weekend shifts or selling some of his tools to cover the cost, calculations that occupied his mind during quiet moments of the daily routine. Every decision required weighing immediate needs against future opportunities, a balancing act that had become second nature after 3 years of sole financial responsibility for their small family. The radio played quietly as Marcus drove through the familiar streets of Portland, a mix of classic rock and local news that provided background companionship during the solitary hours of delivery work. He'd learned the locations of every restaurant in his delivery area, the typical wait times for different cuisines, and the most reliable parking spots near popular destinations. This knowledge made him an efficient delivery driver, capable of completing more orders per shift than less experienced drivers. But it had also made him intimately familiar with the economic geography of the city, the clear distinctions between neighborhoods where people ordered expensive meals and areas where every dollar spent on delivery represented a significant expenditure. The first pickup was from a Thai restaurant in the Northwest District, where Marcus had built a friendly relationship with the staff through months of regular visits. They appreciated his punctuality and professional demeanor, often having orders ready ahead of schedule when they saw his truck approaching. The owner, Mr. Thanakit, occasionally sent extra spring rolls for Emma when Marcus mentioned her love of Thai food, small gestures that demonstrated the connections possible between people whose lives intersected through work and mutual respect. These relationships added warmth to what could have been purely transactional interactions. reminding Marcus that kindness existed everywhere, even in the commercial exchanges that funded their daily life. The delivery would take him to a high-rise apartment building in the Pearl District, where he'd need to navigate security systems and elevator access to reach his customer. These upscale deliveries often involved longer wait times but typically resulted in better tips, making them worthwhile despite the additional complexity. Marcus had learned to dress neatly and maintain professional interactions that reflected well on the restaurant, understanding that his demeanor influenced both customer satisfaction and his own earnings. The delivery business was ultimately about service, and successful drivers understood that efficiency and courtesy were equally important for building a sustainable income. As he drove through the wet streets toward his first pickup, Marcus allowed himself a few minutes of quiet reflection on the life he and Emma had built together. It wasn't the future he'd envisioned when Lisa was alive and they'd made plans for careers and homeownership and family vacations. But it was a good life in its own way, built on honest work and love and the satisfaction that came from meeting challenges with determination and grace. Emma was growing into a remarkable young person, and Marcus took pride in his role as her father, even when the responsibilities felt overwhelming. The Thai restaurant was busy when Marcus arrived, filled with the sounds and aromas of a kitchen operating at full capacity during the dinner rush. He checked in with the hostess, confirmed his order details, and settled in to wait with the patience he'd developed through months of experience. Delivery drivers learned to use waiting time productively, reviewing upcoming orders, planning routes, or simply resting between the physical demands of constant movement. Marcus used these moments to check his phone for messages from Emma or updates from the community center, maintaining connection with his daughter even during the hours when work kept them apart. The order was ready within 10 minutes, packed in insulated bags with careful attention to presentation and temperature control. Marcus inspected everything briefly, checking that sauces and utensils were included and that hot items were properly sealed. Customer satisfaction depended on these details, and experienced drivers understood that small oversights could impact both tips and ratings. He thanked the restaurant staff, loaded the order into his truck's cooler system, and began the drive to the Pearl District, calculating the route that would minimize travel time while accounting for current traffic conditions. Portland's evening rush hour created challenges for delivery drivers, but it also represented peak earning time when demand was highest and tips were most generous. Marcus had learned to work efficiently within these constraints, using traffic apps to avoid the worst congestion while maintaining the friendly professionalism that customers expected. The balance between speed and safety was particularly important during wet weather, when road conditions required extra caution, but customers still expected prompt service. 3 years of experience had taught him to navigate these competing demands while maintaining the service quality that sustained his customer ratings and income. The high-rise building required Marcus to park in a loading zone and use the building's delivery intercom system to gain access. These procedures added time to each delivery but were necessary for security in upscale residential buildings. Marcus had learned to factor these additional steps into his time estimates, understanding that customer expectations remained constant regardless of building logistics. He gathered the order, checked the apartment number, and headed toward the elevator, mentally preparing for the brief but important interaction that would complete this delivery and determine his tip for the effort. The customer was appreciative and generous, adding a $7 tip to the receipt while thanking Marcus for braving the weather to bring her dinner. These positive interactions provided more than financial benefit, reminding Marcus that his work had value and that people genuinely appreciated the service he provided. He thanked her sincerely, wished her a good evening, and headed back to his truck, already checking his phone for the next order in the queue. The evening was just beginning, and with luck, the rain would ease up as the night progressed. As Marcus drove away from the Pearl District toward his next pickup, he felt the quiet satisfaction that came from completing a job well and earning money that would contribute to Emma's field trip fund. Each successful delivery brought them slightly closer to financial stability and the small goals that made their modest life meaningful. The rain continued to fall, but Marcus had learned to find contentment in the routine of honest work and the knowledge that every mile driven and every order delivered was an investment in Emma's future and their life together. The second pickup was from a pizza restaurant in the Hawthorne district, a casual neighborhood spot that served the surrounding residential area with reliable food and reasonable prices. Marcus had delivered for them dozens of times, building familiarity with their usual order times and the typical delivery areas their customers occupied. The owner, Tony Marcelli, knew Marcus by name and occasionally asked about Emma, remembering Marcus's mentions of her school activities and artistic interests. These personal connections transformed what could have been impersonal commercial relationships into genuine friendships that enriched both Marcus's work experience and his sense of community. The pizza order was destined for a house in the Richmond neighborhood, a working-class area where Marcus felt comfortable and where customers typically understood the challenges of service work. The houses were modest but well-maintained, with small yards and the kind of neighborhood character that developed over decades of families raising children and building lives together. Marcus appreciated deliveries to areas like this, where people treated delivery drivers with respect and understanding, recognizing the effort required to bring food to their doors during evening hours and challenging weather. The drive to Richmond took him through familiar streets lined with small businesses and residential blocks that represented the heart of Portland's working-class communities. Marcus knew these neighborhoods well from his delivery routes, understanding their rhythms and character in ways that helped him navigate efficiently while appreciating the diverse communities that made up the city. Each area had its own personality and challenges, but all of them contained families like his own, people working to build good lives within their means while supporting each other through the inevitable difficulties that arose. The pizza delivery went smoothly, with customers who were friendly and appreciative, adding a modest tip that reflected their own working-class background and understanding of service industry economics. Marcus thanked them genuinely, knowing that every tip contributed to Emma's opportunities and their household stability. As he drove back toward the main commercial district for his next pickup, he calculated his earnings for the evening so far, noting that he was on track for a decent night that would help with the accumulated small expenses that always seem to arise in their carefully budgeted life. The third order came from an upscale bistro in the Alberta Arts District, an area that had undergone significant gentrification in recent years but still maintained elements of its original character. The restaurant specialized in farm-to-table cuisine, with prices that reflected both ingredient quality and the neighborhood's changing demographics. Marcus had delivered from this location before, noting that orders were typically substantial and customers generally tipped well, making these deliveries worthwhile despite the longer prep times usually required for more complex meals. The bistro was busy but well-organized, with kitchen staff who understood the importance of keeping delivery drivers moving efficiently during peak hours. Marcus appreciated restaurants that respected drivers' time, understanding that efficiency benefited everyone involved in the delivery process. He confirmed his order details, noted the delivery address in the Irvington neighborhood, and settled in to wait while monitoring his phone for additional orders that might allow him to optimize his route for maximum efficiency. Irvington was an established neighborhood, with tree-lined streets and historic homes that represented Portland's more affluent residential areas. The houses were larger and more elaborate than those in Marcus's own neighborhood, with well-maintained landscaping and architectural details that spoke of significant investment and ongoing maintenance. Marcus felt no resentment toward the economic differences these neighborhoods represented, but he was always aware of them, understanding that his delivery work provided a unique perspective on the city's economic geography and the varying circumstances in which different families lived their daily lives. The delivery address was a craftsman-style house with a circular driveway and mature oak trees that provided shelter from the continuing rain. Marcus parked carefully, gathered the order, and approached the front door with the professional demeanor he maintained regardless of neighborhood or customer demographics. The customer was polite but distracted, signing quickly and adding a standard tip without much conversation. Marcus thanked her efficiently and returned to his truck, already checking for his next order and calculating the time remaining in his shift. The fourth delivery took him back towards southeast Portland to a Vietnamese restaurant that served both the local Vietnamese community and adventurous diners from across the city. The owners, the Nguyen family, had immigrated to Portland 15 years earlier and built their restaurant through hard work and exceptional food that had gradually attracted a devoted following. Marcus respected their entrepreneurial spirit and the way they had created both a business and a community gathering place through dedication and excellent service. Their orders were always carefully prepared and ready on time, reflecting the professionalism that had made their restaurant successful. The delivery destination was an apartment complex in the Jade District, an area with significant Asian immigrant population where Vietnamese restaurants served both authentic cuisine and cultural connection for families maintaining traditions while building new lives in America. Marcus appreciated these deliveries because they connected him with Portland's immigrant communities, reminding him of the diverse backgrounds and stories that contributed to the city's character. The customers were typically gracious and understanding, treating delivery drivers with the respect that reflected their own experiences in service industries. As Marcus completed his fourth delivery of the evening, he calculated that he had earned approximately $45 in tips, putting him on track for one of his better nights of the week. The rain had lightened somewhat, making driving conditions easier and potentially allowing for more efficient completion of remaining orders. He checked his phone to find 2 more deliveries queued up, both from restaurants he knew well, and both destined for areas where he felt confident about parking and customer interactions. The evening was progressing smoothly, and barring any unexpected complications, he would be able to pick up Emma from the community center right on schedule. The 5th pickup came from a Mexican restaurant in the Division Richmond area, a neighborhood that had become increasingly popular for its diverse food scene and walkable business district. The restaurant specialized in authentic Mexican cuisine prepared by a family that had moved to Portland from Oaxaca and brought traditional recipes and cooking techniques that attracted both Mexican immigrants and broader Portland food enthusiasts. Marcus had built a friendly relationship with the staff, who appreciated his consistent punctuality and respectful demeanor, occasionally sharing stories about their families and backgrounds during slower moments. This order was bound for a house in the Woodstock neighborhood, a residential area characterized by modest homes and young families who represented Portland's middle-class communities. The drive would take Marcus through familiar streets where he had made countless deliveries over the past 2 years, developing intimate knowledge of traffic patterns, parking challenges, and the characteristics that made each neighborhood unique. He found satisfaction in this geographical familiarity, feeling connected to the city through his work in ways that office-bound jobs might not provide. The Woodstock delivery was to a family with young children, evidenced by the toys visible in the front yard and the careful way the customer opened the door to prevent pets from escaping. The interaction was warm and appreciative, with the customer commenting on the challenging weather and adding a generous tip that reflected understanding of the extra effort required for delivery service during rain. Marcus thanked them sincerely, exchanged brief pleasantries about the neighborhood, and headed back to his truck feeling the satisfaction that came from positive customer interactions and fair compensation for his efforts. The final order of his evening came from an Italian restaurant in the Selwood Moreland area, a family-owned establishment that had served the neighborhood for over 20 years with traditional recipes and welcoming atmosphere. The owners, the Rossetti family, knew Marcus well enough to ask about Emma and remembered details about her school activities, creating personal connections that made the delivery work feel less impersonal and more like participation in a community network of mutual support and interest. These relationships were among the most rewarding aspects of Marcus's work, providing social connection during otherwise solitary evening hours. The delivery address was in the Westmoreland neighborhood, an area of older homes and established families where Marcus had made many successful deliveries over the months. The customer was a regular who recognized Marcus and always provided consistent, fair tips while treating him with genuine courtesy and respect. These repeat customers formed the backbone of reliable delivery income, providing predictable interactions and compensation that made route planning and income estimation more manageable. Marcus appreciated customers who understood that delivery drivers were people with their own lives and challenges, not just anonymous service providers. As Marcus completed his final delivery of the evening, he calculated his total earnings and confirmed that he had achieved one of his better nights of the week. The tips had been consistently fair, the weather had improved enough to make driving safer, and all the restaurants had been efficient with order preparation. These successful evenings provided both immediate financial benefit and the psychological satisfaction that came from completing challenging work competently and professionally. With his delivery shift complete, Marcus could now focus on picking up Emma and spending the evening hours with her that represented the most important part of his daily routine. The community center was a converted school building that served several surrounding neighborhoods with after-school programs, senior services, and community events. Emma's after-school program was staffed by dedicated volunteers and part-time workers who understood the challenges facing working parents and provided not just supervision, but also homework help, recreational activities, and nutritious snacks that supplemented what busy families could provide at home. Marcus was grateful for these services that allowed him to work evening hours while knowing Emma was safe, engaged, and supported by caring adults who treated her with kindness and respect. Emma was finishing an art project when Marcus arrived. working with concentrated attention on a drawing that depicted their apartment building surrounded by colorful flowers and a bright sun. She looked up with a smile that always reminded Marcus of Lisa and made the challenges of their daily routine worthwhile. Her backpack was packed with completed homework and several new drawings she was eager to share, evidence of productive afternoon hours spent in educational activities and creative expression. The drive home would provide time for Emma to tell Marcus about her day, while he mentally transitioned from work mode to father mode, focusing his attention on the person who mattered most in his carefully structured life. Their evening routine was comfortable and predictable. Dinner prepared from ingredients Marcus had bought during his weekly grocery shopping expedition, conversation about Emma's school day and upcoming activities, review of homework assignments, and often a shared activity like watching a nature documentary or working on one of Emma's art projects together. These quiet hours provided the emotional foundation for their relationship and allowed Marcus to stay connected with Emma's development, interests, and concerns, despite the demands of his work schedule. Bedtime included a story or conversation about whatever topics interested Emma, time that Marcus protected, regardless of how tired he might be from his long working days. As they drove home through the Portland streets that had become intimately familiar through 2 years of delivery routes, Marcus reflected on the evening's work and the small financial progress it represented toward Emma's field trip and their other modest goals. The rain had finally stopped, leaving the streets shining under streetlights and the air fresh with the clean smell that followed Pacific Northwest storms. Tomorrow would bring another day of warehouse work and delivery routes, but tonight belonged to Emma and the quiet satisfaction of another day successfully completed in their carefully maintained life together. The small apartment welcomed them with the warmth of familiar surroundings and the anticipation of evening hours spent together. Emma immediately began unpacking her backpack and arranging her artwork on the kitchen table, eager to share the day's creative accomplishments with the person whose opinion mattered most to her. Marcus started preparing their simple dinner while listening to Emma's animated description of her art class project and her plans for tomorrow's activities. These ordinary moments represented the true richness of their life together, built not on material abundance, but on love, attention, and the security that came from knowing they could depend on each other completely. As Marcus tucked Emma into bed later that evening, reading her a chapter from their current book, and listening to her prayers that always included gratitude for their life together and hopes for good things to come, he felt the quiet contentment that made all the work and worry worthwhile. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and opportunities, but tonight, they were safe and together in their modest home, surrounded by Emma's artwork and the accumulated evidence of a life built on love rather than luxury. Neither of them could have imagined that within 24 hours, a simple act of kindness toward a stranger would begin a transformation that would challenge everything they thought they knew about their place in the world and the possibilities that existed beyond their carefully maintained routine. The next evening started like any other, with Marcus completing his warehouse shift and preparing for his delivery route through Portland's familiar neighborhoods. The weather had cleared, leaving the streets dry and the evening air crisp with the promise of spring. Marcus felt optimistic as he started his truck and checked his phone for the first delivery order, noting that the evening looked busy enough to provide good earning potential while remaining manageable within his usual schedule. Emma was safely settled at the community center with her homework and art supplies, giving Marcus the peace of mind he needed to focus on the work that sustained their modest but comfortable life. The first few deliveries proceeded smoothly, taking Marcus through neighborhoods he knew well to customers who appreciated his reliable service. The tips were fair and the traffic was lighter than usual, allowing him to complete his route efficiently while maintaining the friendly professionalism that had earned him positive ratings and repeat customers. As he drove between restaurants and residential areas, Marcus felt the familiar satisfaction that came from honest work performed competently, knowing that each successful delivery contributed to Emma's opportunities and their household stability. It was during his fourth delivery of the evening, as Marcus drove through the industrial district toward a pickup at a new fusion restaurant, that he encountered the situation that would change everything. The rain had started again, not heavily but with the steady persistence that made driving more challenging, and created puddles that reflected the neon signs of businesses lining the commercial strip. Traffic was moving slowly, and Marcus was calculating whether he had time to complete 2 more deliveries before picking up Emma when he saw the woman standing beside a disabled luxury car on the shoulder of the road. She was clearly in distress, her expensive clothes soaked from the rain, and her phone pressed to her ear in obvious frustration. The car, a late-model BMW sedan, had its hazard lights flashing and steam rising from under the hood, suggesting mechanical failure that had left her stranded in an area where taxis were uncommon and ride-sharing services often refused to venture during evening hours. Marcus's first instinct was to keep driving, mindful of his schedule and the potential complications that could arise from getting involved in a stranger's problems. But something about the woman's obvious vulnerability and the isolated location made him reconsider. Marcus had been raised by parents who emphasized helping others when possible, values that had been reinforced by Lisa during their marriage, and that he was now trying to pass on to Emma through both instruction and example. He understood the dangers of stopping for strangers, but he also recognized genuine distress when he saw it. The woman appeared to be alone, frightened, and in legitimate need of assistance that no one else seemed positioned to provide. After a moment of internal debate, Marcus pulled his truck onto the shoulder behind the disabled car and rolled down his window. "Are you okay?" he called out, keeping his engine running and maintaining a respectful distance. "Do you need help?" The woman looked up with relief and desperation in equal measure. Her dark hair plastered to her head by the rain, and her designer handbag clutched against her chest like a shield. She appeared to be in her early 30s, with the kind of polished appearance that suggested professional success and financial resources, making her current predicament all the more striking. Her phone conversation had apparently ended unsuccessfully, and she looked at Marcus with the desperate hope of someone who had exhausted her other options. "My car broke down," she said, stating the obvious but with a tone that suggested she was unused to mechanical failures and uncertain about how to proceed. "I've been trying to call for help, but no one can come out tonight because of the rain. I have an important meeting I absolutely cannot miss, and I'm supposed to be across town in 30 minutes. Marcus assessed the situation quickly, noting the expensive car, the woman's professional attire, and the genuine distress in her voice. His delivery schedule would be disrupted by any detour, potentially costing him earnings and forcing him to rush his remaining routes. But the woman was clearly in legitimate need, stranded in an area where assistance was unlikely to arrive quickly, and Marcus found himself unable to drive away from someone who needed help. "Where do you need to go?" he asked, already knowing he was going to offer assistance despite the complications it would create for his evening schedule. "The Heathman Hotel downtown," she replied hopefully. "I know it's a lot to ask of a stranger, but I would be incredibly grateful for a ride. I can pay you for gas and your time, whatever would be fair." Marcus considered the logistics briefly. The Heathman Hotel was in downtown Portland, a significant detour from his delivery area that would add at least 40 minutes to his evening and potentially cause him to miss his final pickup opportunities. The woman was offering payment, but Marcus had learned to be cautious about financial arrangements with strangers that might create complications or misunderstandings. On the other hand, she was clearly in genuine need, and helping her would be the kind of action he hoped Emma would take if she ever found herself in similar circumstances. "I can give you a ride," Marcus said finally, pulling further onto the shoulder and turning on his hazard lights. "Don't worry about payment. Just let me move some things around in the truck." The woman's relief was immediate and profound, her entire demeanor changing from desperate anxiety to grateful hope. She gathered her belongings from the disabled car, including a leather briefcase and what appeared to be presentation materials, while Marcus quickly reorganized his delivery supplies to make room for a passenger. He moved his cooler system and extra equipment to the truck bed, wiping down the passenger seat and adjusting the climate control to help his unexpected passenger warm up from her exposure to the rain. "I'm Victoria," she said as she settled into the passenger seat, extending a hand that was cold and slightly trembling from stress and weather. "Victoria Hamilton. I cannot thank you enough for this. You're literally saving my career tonight." "Marcus Chen," he replied, accepting her handshake and noting the firm grip that spoke of someone accustomed to professional interactions. "Don't worry about it. Everyone needs help sometimes." As Marcus pulled back into traffic and began navigating toward downtown Portland, Victoria used the time to call ahead to her meeting, explaining that she was running late due to car trouble but would arrive as soon as possible. Her side of the conversation revealed that she was involved in some kind of business presentation or negotiation that carried significant importance for her professional future. Marcus focused on driving efficiently through the rain-slicked streets, while Victoria composed herself for what was clearly a crucial professional encounter. The drive to downtown Portland took 35 minutes through evening traffic, during which Victoria gradually relaxed and began engaging in conversation with Marcus. She asked about his work, his family, and his impressions of Portland, showing genuine interest in his responses rather than making polite conversation to fill the time. Marcus found himself sharing more than he usually did with strangers, mentioning Emma's artistic talents, his delivery routes, and his appreciation for Portland's diverse neighborhoods and communities. Victoria's questions revealed intelligence and curiosity about lives different from her own, and Marcus began to suspect that despite her expensive clothes and obvious professional success, she possessed genuine warmth and interest in other people's experiences. She asked thoughtful follow-up questions about Emma's school and Marcus's work schedule, showing the kind of attention to detail that suggested she was accustomed to understanding complex situations and remembering important information about the people she encountered. When they arrived at the Heathman Hotel, Victoria gathered her materials quickly, but took time to thank Marcus sincerely for his assistance. She pressed a business card into his hand despite his protests. That payment wasn't necessary, insisting that he contact her if she could ever return the favor. The business card was understated but expensive, with embossed lettering that read, Victoria Hamilton, Senior Partner, Hamilton & Associates Investment Management. The address was in one of Portland's most prestigious business districts, suggesting that Victoria operated at levels of the financial world that Marcus had never encountered directly. "I mean it about returning the favor," Victoria said as she prepared to leave the truck. "What you did tonight went far beyond normal human courtesy. You didn't just give me a ride. You saved a deal that will help a lot of people. I hope someday I can do something equally meaningful for you." Marcus accepted the business card politely, but assumed he would never have reason to contact someone who moved in Victoria's professional and social circles. Their lives had intersected briefly through chance and necessity, and he expected they would return to their separate worlds without further connection. He wished Victoria success in her meeting, waited until she had safely entered the hotel, and then began the drive back to his delivery area, calculating the time he had lost and the earnings he would need to make up through more efficient completion of his remaining routes. The detour had cost Marcus 2 potential delivery opportunities and about $30 in lost earnings, a significant amount in his carefully balanced budget. But as he resumed his delivery route and completed his final orders of the evening, he felt satisfaction in having helped someone in genuine need. The action aligned with his values and the example he wanted to set for Emma, even when it came at personal cost. He arrived at the community center to pick up Emma only 15 minutes later than usual, a delay that went unnoticed by both Emma and the staff, who were accustomed to the varying demands of parents' work schedules. Emma was in good spirits, full of stories about her after-school activities, and eager to show Marcus a new drawing she had completed. The drive home proceeded with their usual conversation about the day's events, Emma's plans for tomorrow, and the small details that made up their life together. Marcus mentioned helping a stranded motorist, but didn't elaborate on the encounter, treating it as a minor incident rather than something significant. Emma approved of his helpfulness with the straightforward moral reasoning of childhood, noting that helping people was always the right thing to do even when it was inconvenient. Their evening routine proceeded normally, with dinner, homework review, and the quiet activities that marked their time together before Emma's bedtime. Marcus found himself thinking occasionally about Victoria and her important meeting, hoping it had gone well and that his assistance had contributed to whatever professional goals she was pursuing. But mostly his attention focused on Emma and the familiar rhythms of their life together, the business card forgotten in his jacket pocket as they settled into the comfortable routines that had sustained them through 3 years of single parenthood. As Marcus tucked Emma into bed that evening, she asked him about the person he had helped earlier, showing the kind of moral curiosity that made him proud of her developing character. He explained briefly about finding someone whose car had broken down and giving them a ride to an important meeting, emphasizing the importance of helping others when possible and safe to do so. Emma nodded solemnly, understanding that helping people was part of being a good person, and asked if the woman had been grateful for his kindness. "Very grateful," Marcus confirmed, smoothing Emma's hair and adjusting her blankets. She said I helped save something important to her. "That's good, Daddy," Emma said with a satisfied tone of someone whose moral universe had been confirmed. "Tomorrow can I draw a picture of you helping people?" "Of course, sweetheart. That would be a wonderful picture." As Marcus settled into his own evening routine, reviewing his earnings for the day and planning tomorrow's schedule, he calculated that despite the lost time and income from helping Victoria, the evening had been moderately successful financially. More importantly, he had acted in accordance with his values and provided Emma with an example of the kind of person he hoped she would become. 3 days passed before Marcus thought about Victoria Hamilton again. The business card had migrated from his jacket pocket to the kitchen counter, where it sat beneath a stack of Emma's latest artwork and a reminder note about parent-teacher conferences. Life had returned to its familiar rhythm of warehouse shifts and delivery routes, with the Tuesday evening encounter filing itself away as an interesting but concluded chapter in their ordinary existence. Thursday morning brought unexpected complications when Marcus's truck developed transmission problems during his commute to the warehouse. The vehicle had been showing signs of wear for months, but Marcus had been hoping to delay expensive repairs until his finances were more stable. The transmission began slipping during gear changes, a symptom that automotive experience told him would require significant work to resolve properly. He managed to reach the warehouse by driving carefully and avoiding steep hills, but the return trip that evening would be challenging, and using the truck for delivery work was now impossible. The warehouse foreman, Dave Morrison, was understanding about Marcus's transportation difficulties and offered to adjust his schedule to accommodate carpooling arrangements with other employees. Several co-workers lived in southeast Portland and could provide rides for a few days while Marcus arranged repairs, but the delivery job would be impossible without reliable transportation. Food delivery required a personal vehicle, and rental cars were prohibitively expensive for someone operating on Marcus's budget margins. The loss of evening delivery income would create immediate financial pressure, just as monthly bills were coming due. Marcus spent his lunch break calling auto repair shops and calculating the potential cost of transmission work. The estimates ranged from $800 to $1,500, amounts that represented weeks of delivery earnings and would require him to delay other necessary expenses. His savings account contained exactly $327, money he had been accumulating slowly toward Emma's field trip and other educational opportunities. The transmission repair would consume his savings and create debt that would take months to resolve, assuming he could arrange financing for work that most shops required to be paid upon completion. Emma sensed his tension that evening as they shared dinner and discussed the day's events. Her 10-year-old intuition picked up on adult stress, even when Marcus tried to shield her from financial worries that were beyond her ability to understand or influence. She asked careful questions about the truck problems and offered to contribute money from her small allowance, gestures that touched Marcus deeply while highlighting the limited resources their family could bring to bear against unexpected expenses. He assured her that truck problems were adult responsibilities and that solutions would be found, projecting confidence he didn't entirely feel about their ability to weather this particular financial storm. The community center staff were accommodating about schedule changes necessitated by Marcus's transportation difficulties, allowing Emma to stay later on days when his ride arrangements were complicated. Mrs. Patterson, the program director, had worked with many families facing various challenges and understood that employment disruptions could create cascading difficulties for single parents operating without extended family support networks. She assured Marcus that Emma's care would be consistent regardless of his work schedule changes, removing one source of stress while he focused on resolving the vehicle and income problems. Friday brought additional complications when Marcus learned that the transmission damage was more extensive than initially estimated. The repair shop diagnosed multiple component failures that would require replacement parts and labor costs approaching $2,000. The truck's age and mileage made investing such amounts questionable from a financial perspective, but purchasing a replacement vehicle would require even more money that Marcus simply didn't possess. He found himself caught between equally difficult options, none of which offered clear solutions within his current financial capabilities. The weekend provided time to research alternatives and consider difficult decisions about their immediate future. Marcus investigated used car financing options, but his credit score and income level made approval unlikely for loans sufficient to purchase reliable transportation. He considered taking a second job that didn't require personal vehicle use, but most available positions conflicted with his warehouse schedule or required qualifications he didn't possess. The delivery work had provided essential income flexibility that would be difficult to replace with traditional employment opportunities. Emma spent Saturday working on art projects while Marcus made phone calls and calculated budgets, trying to find mathematical solutions to problems that seemed to require resources beyond their current means. She created elaborate drawings of families overcoming various challenges, unconsciously processing the adult stress she observed, while maintaining her characteristic optimism about their ability to work through difficulties together. Her artistic expression provided emotional release for feelings she couldn't fully articulate, while her presence reminded Marcus of the most important reasons for finding solutions to their current predicament. Sunday evening brought unexpected relief when Marcus remembered Victoria Hamilton's business card and her sincere offer to return the favor he had provided. He studied the expensive cardstock and embossed lettering, wondering whether contacting someone from her professional level was appropriate given their brief encounter and the significant difference in their circumstances. Victoria had seemed genuine in her gratitude and her offer of assistance, but Marcus worried about appearing to take advantage of a spontaneous moment of connection that might have been polite courtesy rather than a serious commitment. After considerable internal debate, Marcus decided that Victoria's offer had been made sincerely and that his current situation qualified as legitimate need for the kind of help she had mentioned. He composed a careful email explaining his transportation difficulties and their impact on his delivery work, emphasizing that he was seeking advice or suggestions rather than direct financial assistance. The message was respectful and specific about his circumstances while avoiding details that might seem like emotional manipulation or inappropriate sharing of personal financial information. Victoria's response arrived within 2 hours, demonstrating both the efficiency of her communication habits and genuine concern for Marcus's situation. Her email was warm and detailed, expressing disappointment that he was experiencing difficulties and offering several potential solutions that showed thoughtful consideration of his specific needs. She mentioned knowing about reliable used car dealers who worked with buyers in various financial situations, suggested alternative employment opportunities that might provide similar income flexibility, and offered to make introductions that could expedite solutions to his transportation problems. The most surprising element of Victoria's response was an invitation to meet for coffee to discuss his situation in detail and explore options that might not be apparent from email communication alone. She suggested a cafe in Southeast Portland near Marcus's neighborhood, demonstrating consideration for his current transportation limitations, while offering to provide more substantive assistance than could be arranged through electronic messages. Her tone was professional but warm, treating Marcus as someone whose welfare mattered to her rather than an obligation to be discharged quickly and impersonally. Marcus accepted the coffee invitation while maintaining careful boundaries about expectations and his ability to reciprocate any assistance Victoria might provide. He chose clothing appropriate for meeting someone from her professional background while remaining authentic to his own circumstances and comfort level. The cafe Victoria had suggested was familiar to Marcus from his delivery routes, a neighborhood establishment that served excellent coffee while maintaining an atmosphere comfortable for both casual meetings and informal business discussions. Victoria arrived precisely on time, dressed in elegant but understated clothes that suggested wealth without ostentation. She greeted Marcus warmly and immediately began asking detailed questions about his situation, demonstrating the kind of focused attention that successful business people brought to understanding complex problems. Her questions were specific and practical, covering everything from his employment history to his vehicle maintenance records, while maintaining respect for his privacy and dignity throughout the conversation. The discussion revealed that Victoria possessed extensive knowledge about automotive issues, employment markets, and financial solutions that could address Marcus's immediate needs while positioning him for improved long-term stability. She had researched used car dealers who specialized in working with buyers who had limited credit history, explored financing options that considered employment stability rather than just credit scores, and identified potential employers who valued reliability and customer service skills over formal educational credentials. Her preparation demonstrated genuine commitment to helping Marcus find sustainable solutions rather than quick fixes that might create future problems. Most surprisingly, Victoria revealed that her investment management firm had been looking for someone to handle client transportation services, a position that would involve driving clients to meetings, airport transfers, and other business-related travel. The job would provide steady income with flexible scheduling, health insurance benefits, and access to a company vehicle that could also be used for personal transportation. The position had remained unfilled because finding someone with the right combination of driving skills, customer service experience, and personal integrity had proven challenging through traditional hiring channels. Marcus listened with growing amazement as Victoria described a job opportunity that seemed designed specifically for his skills and circumstances. The salary would exceed his combined warehouse and delivery income while providing benefits and stability that his current work arrangement couldn't match. The company vehicle would solve his transportation problems immediately while providing long-term security against future automotive expenses. The client interaction component would utilize his customer service experience while introducing him to business environments that could provide networking opportunities and career development possibilities. Victoria explained that her interest in Marcus for this position was based entirely on the character he had demonstrated during their initial encounter. His willingness to help a stranger despite personal inconvenience, his professional demeanor during stressful circumstances, and his obvious commitment to family responsibilities suggested qualities that would translate directly to success in client services work. She had consulted with her business partners about creating this position specifically for Marcus, describing him as someone whose integrity and reliability made him exactly the kind of employee their firm wanted to attract and retain. The conversation continued for over 2 hours as Victoria outlined the position requirements, benefits, and expectations, while Marcus asked questions about responsibilities and company culture. The job would require occasional evening and weekend work when clients needed transportation for special events or emergency business travel. But the scheduling would be far more predictable than delivery work and would never conflict with Emma's school schedule or important family time. The company culture emphasized work-life balance and understood that employees with children needed flexibility to meet family obligations. Victoria also mentioned that the firm's client base included several families with children Emma's age, creating potential social connections and opportunities that might enrich their lives beyond the immediate employment benefits. Some clients had expressed interest in educational programs and cultural activities that could provide Emma with experiences Marcus couldn't afford to arrange independently. While these additional benefits weren't part of the job description, Victoria noted that the firm's culture encouraged community building among employees and clients who shared common interests and values. As their meeting concluded, Victoria handed Marcus a formal job offer letter that had been prepared by her firm's human resources department. The salary figure exceeded his most optimistic expectations, and the benefits package included health insurance, retirement contributions, and educational assistance that could help fund Emma's future college expenses. The start date was flexible to allow Marcus time to provide appropriate notice at his current jobs and make arrangements for Emma's after-school care that would accommodate his new schedule. Marcus accepted the position immediately, overwhelmed by the transformation this opportunity represented for their financial security and future prospects. Victoria smiled with obvious satisfaction, explaining that helping Marcus was personally meaningful to her because it demonstrated that kindness and integrity were still valued in business environments that often prioritized other qualities. She scheduled him for orientation meetings later that week and provided contact information for the human resources team who would handle paperwork and logistical arrangements. The drive home from their coffee meeting felt surreal, as Marcus processed the magnitude of change that Victoria's assistance represented. 3 days earlier, he had been facing financial crisis and uncertain employment prospects. Now he had a stable job with excellent benefits, reliable transportation, and income security that would allow him to focus on being Emma's father rather than constantly worrying about making ends meet. The transformation seemed almost impossibly fortunate, the kind of positive development that happened in movies rather than real life. Emma was waiting with Mrs. Rodriguez when Marcus arrived home, full of questions about his afternoon meeting and curious about the obviously positive change in his demeanor. He explained carefully about the new job opportunity, emphasizing the improvements it would bring to their daily routine while avoiding details that might create unrealistic expectations about their suddenly improved circumstances. Emma listened with the serious attention she brought to important family discussions, asking thoughtful questions about how the changes would affect her school schedule and their evening time together. The new job would require Marcus to maintain professional appearance standards that necessitated some clothing purchases, but the salary increase would easily accommodate these expenses while leaving substantial surplus for Emma's educational opportunities and their long-term financial security. Victoria had mentioned that the company provided uniform allowances and professional development funds that would help cover initial wardrobe costs, demonstrating attention to employee welfare that extended beyond basic compensation packages. Emma's immediate concern was whether the new job would require Marcus to work longer hours or travel frequently, potentially disrupting the stable routine that had sustained them through 3 years of single parenthood. Marcus assured her that the position was specifically designed to accommodate family responsibilities and that his evening availability would actually improve since he would no longer need to work delivery routes after completing warehouse shifts. The regular schedule would provide more predictable family time and eliminate the income uncertainty that had characterized their previous work arrangement. That evening, as Marcus helped Emma with homework and prepared for the transition to his new employment situation, he reflected on the unexpected ways that simple acts of kindness could create ripple effects extending far beyond their original scope. His decision to help Victoria had been motivated by basic human decency, rather than any expectation of reward, but her gratitude had transformed their lives in ways that seemed almost miraculous in their timing and scope. The experience reinforced his belief in treating others with compassion and respect, values he hoped Emma was learning through observation and example. The weekend brought a flurry of activity as Marcus arranged to give notice at both current jobs, scheduled orientation appointments with his new employer, and began planning the practical adjustments their improved circumstances would require. The warehouse foreman was sorry to lose a reliable employee but understanding about Marcus's need to pursue better opportunities for his family's welfare. The delivery service manager was similarly supportive, noting that Marcus had been one of their most dependable drivers and wishing him success in his new position. Emma spent Saturday helping Marcus organize his work clothes and plan the new daily routine that would accommodate his changed schedule. She approached these preparations with characteristic enthusiasm, treating the transition as an adventure rather than a disruption to their established patterns. Her positive attitude helped Marcus manage his own anxiety about beginning a professional position that represented significant advancement in responsibility and expectations compared to his previous work experience. Sunday brought a surprise visit from Victoria, who stopped by to deliver Marcus's company vehicle and ensure that he had everything needed for a successful start to his new position. The car was a late-model sedan, impeccably maintained and equipped with GPS navigation and communication systems that would facilitate efficient client transportation. Victoria spent time showing Marcus the vehicle's features and explaining company protocols for maintenance, fuel, and documentation of business use. Emma was impressed by the professional appearance of the company car and the obvious respect Victoria showed for her father's new role within the organization. Victoria took time to speak with Emma about her school activities and artistic interests, showing genuine engagement with the things that mattered to a 10-year-old while demonstrating the kind of personal attention that characterized her approach to all relationships. Her interaction with Emma was natural and warm, suggesting that her interest in their family's welfare extended beyond professional obligation to genuine personal concern. As Victoria prepared to leave, she mentioned that several of the firm's clients had children who attended private schools with excellent art programs, and that scholarship opportunities sometimes became available for talented young artists whose families might benefit from educational assistance. While she emphasized that Emma's artistic development should be pursued for its own sake rather than as preparation for specific opportunities, Victoria noted that talent combined with proper instruction could lead to possibilities that might not otherwise be available to them. The conversation about Emma's artistic potential opened Marcus's eyes to possibilities he had never considered within their financial reach. Private school scholarships, advanced art instruction, and cultural opportunities that could nurture Emma's creativity while expanding her social and educational horizons. Victoria's casual mention of these possibilities suggested that Marcus's new position might provide access to networks and resources that extended far beyond immediate employment benefits, creating potential for Emma's development that transformed Marcus's understanding of what their future might hold. Monday morning arrived with Marcus feeling both excitement and anxiety about beginning his new professional role. The company's offices were located in downtown Portland's business district, in a building that represented levels of commercial success Marcus had never experienced directly. The lobby was elegantly appointed with artwork and furniture that spoke of substantial financial resources, while the overall atmosphere conveyed professionalism and attention to detail that set clear expectations for employee presentation and performance standards. Victoria introduced Marcus to the human resources team, who handled his paperwork efficiently while explaining company policies, benefit enrollment procedures, and the performance expectations that would guide his work. The orientation process was thorough and welcoming, designed to help new employees understand both their specific responsibilities and the broader company culture that emphasized excellence in client service and personal integrity in all business dealings. Marcus felt supported and valued from his first moments as an official employee, a stark contrast to the impersonal treatment he had experienced in previous jobs. The client transportation position required Marcus to maintain detailed schedules, coordinate with multiple departments, and exercise discretion about confidential business information he might overhear during client meetings and travel. The training program covered not just driving and logistics but also professional communication skills, business etiquette, and the subtle aspects of providing service that enhanced rather than intruded upon client experiences. Marcus appreciated the company's investment in his professional development and their recognition that excellent service required more than just reliable transportation. His first week involved shadowing experienced employees to learn company procedures and client preferences, while gradually taking on independent responsibilities under careful supervision and guidance. The clients were uniformly professional and appreciative of quality service, treating Marcus with respect and courtesy that made the work pleasant and rewarding. Many clients took time to engage in brief conversations during travel, sharing insights about business, family life, and community involvement that expanded Marcus's understanding of how successful people approached both professional and personal challenges. Emma adjusted quickly to the new routine, which provided more predictable family time and eliminated the uncertainty about Marcus's evening availability that had characterized their previous schedule. The after-school program remained part of her routine, but Marcus's improved income allowed him to supplement their services with enrichment activities like private art lessons and weekend cultural events that broadened her educational and social experiences. Emma flourished with these expanded opportunities while maintaining the grounded values and appreciation for simple pleasures that had sustained them through less prosperous times. The financial transformation was gradual but profound, as Marcus's increased salary eliminated the constant budget calculations and worry about unexpected expenses that had characterized their previous life. Bills were paid easily and on time, Emma's field trip fees were covered without financial stress, and Marcus began accumulating savings that provided security against future emergencies, while funding small luxuries that improved their daily quality of life. The relief of financial stability allowed Marcus to focus more attention on Emma's development and their relationship rather than constantly managing economic survival. 3 weeks into his new position, Marcus received an unexpected assignment that would demonstrate both his competence and the company's confidence in his abilities. Victoria requested that he provide transportation for a high-profile client visiting from San Francisco, a technology executive whose investment decisions could significantly impact the firm's business development goals. The assignment would require airport pickup, transportation to multiple business meetings, and evening service for a company dinner, representing Marcus's most complex and important client interaction since joining the firm. The client, David Morrison, proved to be engaging and personable, genuinely interested in Marcus's background and impressions of Portland's business environment. During their conversations, Marcus shared observations about the city's economic development and cultural attractions that demonstrated intelligence and local knowledge that enhanced the client's business visit. David complimented Victoria on the quality of her firm's personnel and specifically mentioned Marcus's professionalism and insight during their interactions, feedback that reached Marcus through Victoria's obvious pride in his performance. The successful handling of this high-visibility assignment led to additional opportunities for Marcus to work with important clients, gradually establishing his reputation within the firm as someone who could be trusted with sensitive responsibilities and complex logistical arrangements. His combination of reliability, discretion, and genuine warmth made him popular with clients who specifically requested his services for their Portland business travel. This client loyalty created job security and advancement opportunities that exceeded Marcus's initial expectations about his role within the organization. Emma's artistic development flourished with access to advanced instruction and cultural experiences that Marcus's improved circumstances made possible. She enrolled in weekend art classes at the Portland Art Museum, participated in youth programs that exposed her to various artistic mediums and techniques, and began developing a portfolio that demonstrated both natural talent and sophisticated instruction. Her teachers noted exceptional creativity and technical skill that suggested potential for serious artistic pursuit if Emma maintained her interest and commitment through adolescence. The social connections that developed through Marcus's work provided unexpected benefits for Emma's development and their family's integration into broader community networks. Several clients had children Emma's age, leading to playdates and family friendships that enriched their social lives while exposing Emma to different family cultures and educational approaches. These relationships developed naturally through shared activities and common interests rather than feeling forced or artificial, creating genuine connections that benefited both adults and children involved. Victoria maintained regular contact with Marcus beyond their professional interactions, checking on Emma's progress and suggesting opportunities that might benefit their family's continued development. Her interests seemed genuinely personal rather than professional obligation, and she often invited Marcus and Emma to cultural events and community activities that provided enriching experiences while strengthening their friendship. Victoria's attention to Emma's artistic development was particularly meaningful, as she understood the importance of nurturing talent while maintaining realistic expectations about competitive creative fields. The company's annual client appreciation event provided Marcus with his first opportunity to represent the firm in a formal social setting, requiring him to interact with clients and their families in an elegant hotel ballroom rather than the more casual environment of transportation services. He felt nervous about navigating social situations that were outside his previous experience, but Victoria and other colleagues provided guidance about appropriate conversation topics and professional etiquette that helped him feel confident and prepared for the event. Emma accompanied Marcus to the client event, which included family-friendly activities and entertainment designed to strengthen relationships between the firm and clients, families. She was poised and articulate when introduced to various guests, demonstrating the social skills and confidence that reflected both her natural personality and the security she felt in Marcus's love and support. Several clients commented to Victoria about Emma's obvious intelligence and artistic talent, conversations that led to informal discussions about educational opportunities and youth programs that might benefit her development. The evening concluded with Victoria presenting awards to employees who had demonstrated exceptional service during the past year, with Marcus receiving recognition for client satisfaction and professional development that exceeded expectations for someone in his first year with the company. The award included both monetary bonus and company-wide recognition that enhanced his professional standing, while providing additional financial resources for Emma's educational expenses and their family's continued stability. As Marcus drove home from the client event, with Emma chattering excitedly about the people she had met and the elegant setting they had experienced, he reflected on the remarkable transformation their lives had undergone since that rainy Tuesday evening when he had decided to help a stranded motorist. Victoria's gratitude had created opportunities and experiences that seemed almost impossibly generous in their scope and impact, changing not just their financial circumstances but their entire social and professional horizons. The company vehicle that had initially represented simple transportation for work had become a symbol of stability and advancement that extended far beyond its practical function. Emma understood that their improved circumstances resulted from her father's hard work and good character, lessons about integrity and perseverance that would serve her well, regardless of what future challenges or opportunities might arise. The experience reinforced Marcus's belief in treating others with kindness and respect, values that had literally transformed their lives through unexpected consequences and connections. That night, as Marcus tucked Emma into bed in their apartment that no longer felt cramped or insufficient but rather cozy and comfortable, she asked thoughtful questions about how their lives had changed and what the future might hold for their small family. Marcus explained that good things often happened to people who worked hard and treated others well, while emphasizing that their happiness and security came from their love for each other rather than material improvements or social advancement. Emma nodded solemnly, understanding that their most important treasures remained constant regardless of external circumstances. As Marcus settled into his own evening routine, reviewing the day's events and planning for tomorrow's work schedule, he studied Victoria's business card that had initiated this transformation, and marveled at the unexpected ways that human connections could reshape entire life trajectories. The simple act of providing assistance to someone in need had created relationships and opportunities that exceeded anything he could have imagined when he made the spontaneous decision to stop for a stranded motorist. The experience had taught him that kindness was indeed its own reward, but that sometimes the universe responded to good intentions with blessings that multiplied far beyond their original scope. 6 months had passed since Marcus began working for Hamilton & Associates, and the rhythm of his new life had settled into a comfortable pattern that balanced professional responsibilities with quality time for Emma and their expanded social connections. The transformation extended beyond financial stability to encompass educational opportunities, cultural experiences, and personal relationships that had broadened their perspectives while strengthening their fundamental values and commitment to each other. Emma's artistic abilities had flourished under expert instruction, with her portfolio now demonstrating technical skills and creative vision that impressed teachers and fellow students alike. Her weekend classes at the Portland Art Museum had led to participation in youth exhibitions and competitive programs that showcased emerging talent throughout the Pacific Northwest. Marcus found deep satisfaction in watching Emma's confidence grow as she discovered her capabilities and began to envision possibilities for her future that extended far beyond anything their previous circumstances could have supported. The private art lessons that Victoria had arranged through her network of contacts provided Emma with individualized attention from accomplished artists who recognized her exceptional potential and tailored instruction to nurture her specific interests and strengths. These mentors became important figures in Emma's development, offering guidance about artistic techniques while also modeling the discipline and dedication required for serious creative pursuit. Their influence helped Emma understand that artistic talent required cultivation and commitment rather than relying solely on natural ability. Marcus's role within Hamilton & Associates had evolved from basic client transportation to comprehensive concierge services that utilized his growing knowledge of Portland's business community and cultural resources. His responsibilities now included coordinating complex travel arrangements, managing event logistics, and providing consultation about local services and amenities that enhanced client experiences during business visits. The expanded role came with increased compensation and recognition that reflected his value to the organization beyond his original job description. The professional development opportunities provided by the company had equipped Marcus with business skills and industry knowledge that opened possibilities for career advancement within the financial services sector. He attended training seminars on client relations, completed certification programs in logistics management, and participated in company meetings that exposed him to strategic planning and business development processes. These experiences broadened his understanding of professional environments while building competencies that could support future career growth. Victoria's mentorship had been instrumental in Marcus's professional development, but their relationship had also evolved into genuine friendship that extended beyond workplace interactions. She regularly invited Marcus and Emma to cultural events, dinner parties, and family gatherings that integrated them into her social circle, while respecting their independence and personal boundaries. Victoria's friends and colleagues embraced Marcus and Emma warmly, appreciating their authenticity and the fresh perspective they brought to social situations that sometimes suffered from insularity and predictability. The friendship between Victoria and Emma had developed naturally through shared interests in art, literature, and social causes that allowed them to connect across their age difference. Victoria often attended Emma's art exhibitions and school performances, providing encouragement and constructive feedback that supported Emma's artistic growth while demonstrating genuine interest in her development as both artist and person. Emma reciprocated by creating artwork specifically for Victoria and including her in family celebrations that honored their expanded definition of family relationships. Marcus's financial security had stabilized to the point where he could consider long-term planning for Emma's education and their future goals rather than focusing solely on immediate survival and basic needs. He had established college savings accounts, invested in retirement planning, and built emergency reserves that protected them against unexpected expenses, while providing flexibility for educational opportunities and family experiences that enriched their lives. The psychological relief of financial stability allowed Marcus to focus energy on parenting and personal development that had been impossible during their previous period of economic uncertainty. The company's health insurance benefits had provided Emma with access to comprehensive medical and dental care that ensured her physical development proceeded optimally, while addressing minor health issues before they became serious problems. Regular checkups, dental cleanings, and vision screening became routine rather than luxury expenses, contributing to Emma's overall well-being while demonstrating Marcus's commitment to providing her with advantages that would serve her throughout her life. The peace of mind that came with excellent healthcare coverage eliminated another source of parental anxiety that had characterized their previous circumstances. Emma's social development had expanded significantly through friendships with children from diverse backgrounds whose families moved in Portland's professional and cultural communities. These relationships exposed her to different family structures, educational approaches, and cultural traditions that broadened her worldview, while reinforcing her appreciation for her own family's values and experiences. The playdates, birthday parties, and family gatherings that resulted from these connections provided Emma with rich social experiences that supported her emotional development and communication skills. The educational enrichment opportunities that Marcus's improved circumstances made possible included summer programs, cultural exchanges, and specialized camps that nurtured Emma's artistic interests while exposing her to academic subjects and career possibilities she might not otherwise have encountered. These experiences helped Emma develop independence, confidence, and leadership skills that complemented her artistic abilities while preparing her for future educational and professional challenges. Marcus took pride in providing Emma with opportunities that would help her reach her full potential, regardless of the direction her interests might take as she matured. Victoria's investment management firm had grown significantly during Marcus's tenure, with his contributions to client satisfaction and business development playing a measurable role in the company's success. Several major clients had specifically cited the quality of support services as factors in their decisions to expand their business relationships with Hamilton and Associates, creating tangible value that justified Marcus's compensation increases and expanded responsibilities. His success demonstrated the company's wisdom in recognizing that exceptional service required investment in personnel who understood that client relationships extended beyond financial transactions to encompass comprehensive support and attention to detail. The annual performance review that Victoria conducted with Marcus highlighted his professional growth and outlined opportunities for continued advancement within the organization. The discussion covered not just his current performance, but also his career aspirations and the company's willingness to support his development through additional training, increased responsibilities, and potential progression into management roles. Marcus found himself considering professional possibilities that would have seemed impossibly ambitious just 1 year earlier, while maintaining realistic expectations about the work and commitment required for continued advancement. Emma's academic performance had improved markedly since their financial situation stabilized, with reduced stress at home translating into better concentration and engagement in school activities. Her teachers noted increased confidence in classroom discussions, improved completion of assignments, and enhanced participation in extracurricular activities that demonstrated her growing comfort with taking on challenges and leadership responsibilities. The correlation between family stability and educational success reinforced Marcus's understanding of how financial security affected every aspect of Emma's development and future prospects. The community connections that had developed through Marcus's work and Emma's activities had created a support network that enhanced their quality of life while providing resources and assistance during minor challenges that arose in their daily routine. Neighbors, colleagues, and friends formed an informal but reliable system of mutual support that included everything from emergency childcare to professional referrals to social invitations that prevented isolation and strengthened their integration into Portland's broader community. These relationships demonstrated how professional success could facilitate personal connections that enriched lives beyond immediate material benefits. Marcus's relationship with his former co-workers from the warehouse and delivery service remained friendly and supportive, with periodic social gatherings that maintained connections while allowing him to share his good fortune and offer assistance to others facing challenges similar to those he had recently overcome. These relationships kept him grounded in appreciation for his improved circumstances, while providing opportunities to help others through referrals, recommendations, and practical support. The experience of receiving unexpected assistance from Victoria had sensitized Marcus to opportunities for helping others, creating a cycle of generosity that extended the positive impact of his own transformation. The investment in Emma's artistic education had begun producing measurable results, with her work gaining recognition in local competitions and exhibitions that showcased young talent throughout the region. Several pieces had been selected for permanent display in community centers and educational institutions, providing Emma with public recognition that validated her abilities while inspiring continued dedication to artistic development. Marcus felt profound pride in Emma's achievements, while understanding that her success resulted from talent, instruction, and the security that allowed her to focus on creative development rather than worrying about basic family needs. Victoria's introduction of Marcus and Emma to Portland's cultural elite had opened doors to experiences and opportunities that enriched their lives while expanding their understanding of art, literature, music, and social engagement. They attended gallery openings, symphony performances, literary readings, and charity events that exposed them to sophisticated cultural expressions while maintaining their appreciation for simpler pleasures and authentic human connections. These experiences broadened their perspectives without creating pretensions or disconnection from their fundamental values and authentic relationships. The company vehicle that Marcus used for client transportation had been upgraded to a luxury sedan that reflected Hamilton and Associates' commitment to providing clients with exceptional service, while demonstrating confidence in Marcus's ability to represent the firm professionally in all circumstances. The improved vehicle enhanced his effectiveness in client relations, while providing reliable transportation for family activities and daily needs. Emma particularly enjoyed the smooth ride and advanced sound system that made their weekend trips to art classes and cultural events more pleasant and convenient. Marcus's wardrobe had evolved to meet the professional standards required for his expanded responsibilities, with Victoria's guidance helping him select clothing that projected competence and sophistication, while remaining comfortable and authentic to his personal style. The investment in professional appearance had paid dividends in client interactions and business relationships, while Marcus maintained awareness that external presentation supported rather than replaced genuine competence and integrity. Emma took pride in her father's professional appearance while understanding that their worth as people remained independent of material possessions or social status. The annual client retreat that Hamilton and Associates organized at a resort on the Oregon coast provided Marcus with opportunities to demonstrate his organizational skills and attention to detail in planning complex logistics for high-profile guests with demanding schedules and sophisticated expectations. His coordination of transportation, dining arrangements, entertainment, and special requests earned praise from both clients and colleagues while showcasing his development from basic transportation provider to comprehensive hospitality professional. The successful execution of these events contributed to his growing reputation within the company and the broader Portland business community. Emma's participation in the retreat's family program allowed her to interact with children from wealthy and influential families, while maintaining her natural charm and confidence in social situations that might have intimidated less secure young people. Her artistic demonstrations and impromptu sketching sessions entertained both children and adults, while showcasing talents that impressed guests and created positive associations with Hamilton and Associates' commitment to supporting employee families. Emma's social success at these events reflected both her innate personality and the security that came from knowing she was loved and valued regardless of external circumstances. The scholarship opportunities that Victoria had mentioned began materializing as Emma's artistic abilities gained recognition and her academic performance demonstrated readiness for enhanced educational challenges. Several private schools with excellent arts programs expressed interest in Emma's application, offering financial assistance packages that would make elite education accessible, while honoring Marcus's desire to maintain involvement in Emma's educational decisions. These opportunities represented possibilities that transformed Marcus's understanding of Emma's future, while requiring careful consideration of how accelerated academic environments might affect her social and emotional development. Marcus's decision to explore private school options for Emma involved extensive research, campus visits, and conversations with educators who helped him understand the advantages and challenges associated with different educational approaches. The process required balancing Emma's intellectual and artistic needs with family values and social considerations that would affect her development throughout adolescence. Victoria's insights and connections provided valuable perspective while Marcus maintained ultimate responsibility for decisions that would shape Emma's educational experience and future opportunities. The financial planning sessions that Victoria arranged with Hamilton and Associates' wealth management team helped Marcus understand investment strategies and long-term planning approaches that could optimize Emma's educational funding while building family wealth that would provide security throughout their lives. These consultations introduced Marcus to concepts and opportunities typically available only to high-income families, while emphasizing the importance of maintaining conservative approaches that protected against risk, while building steady growth over time. The education and financial management represented another dimension of the transformation that had begun with a simple act of kindness toward a stranded motorist. Emma's artistic portfolio had developed sufficient quality and breadth to support applications for competitive summer programs and youth workshops that would provide intensive instruction from nationally recognized artists and educators. These opportunities represented significant financial investments that Marcus's improved circumstances made possible, while requiring careful evaluation of programs that would challenge Emma appropriately while supporting her continued development and maintaining her enthusiasm for artistic expression. The decision-making process involved Emma as an active participant, whose preferences and goals guided family choices about her educational and artistic development. The mentorship relationships that had developed between Emma and several accomplished artists in Victoria's network provided her with role models and guidance that extended beyond technical instruction to encompass career planning and life skills that would serve her regardless of her ultimate professional choices. These mentors shared insights about the practical aspects of artistic careers while encouraging Emma to develop broad intellectual interests and practical skills that would enhance her capabilities in any field she might choose to pursue. Their influence helped Emma understand that artistic talent could be combined with other interests and abilities to create fulfilling and sustainable career paths. Marcus's growing involvement in Portland's business community through Hamilton and Associates had created networking opportunities that could support future career advancement while providing insights into different industries and professional possibilities. He attended industry conferences, participated in professional organizations, and developed relationships with business leaders who recognized his competence and potential for continued growth. These connections expanded his understanding of career possibilities while building social capital that could benefit both his immediate prospects and Emma's future opportunities. The transformation of their apartment, through modest improvements and quality furnishings, reflected their improved circumstances, while maintaining the comfortable, family-oriented atmosphere that had always characterized their home. Emma's artwork now occupied prominent display areas, and Marcus had created a dedicated studio space where she could work on projects while he remained available for homework help and family conversation. The physical improvements to their living space supported their enhanced lifestyle while preserving the intimacy and warmth that made their apartment a true home rather than just a place to live. Victoria's influence on their lives had been consistently positive and supportive, but Marcus remained conscious of maintaining appropriate boundaries and independence that preserved their family's autonomy while appreciating the opportunities and assistance she had provided. Their friendship had developed mutual respect and genuine affection, while avoiding dependency relationships that might compromise either party's freedom to make independent decisions about their lives and futures. The balance between gratitude and independence required ongoing attention, but both Marcus and Victoria understood the importance of maintaining healthy relationship dynamics that supported rather than constrained individual growth and decision-making. The annual employee recognition dinner, where Marcus received a promotion to Senior Client Services Manager, represented both professional advancement and personal validation of the character traits and work ethic that had sustained him through difficult periods and enabled him to capitalize on unexpected opportunities. The promotion included significant salary increases, expanded benefits, and management responsibilities that would challenge his abilities while providing platforms for continued professional development. Emma's presence at the recognition ceremony demonstrated the company's appreciation for employee families, while highlighting the personal dimensions of professional success. As Marcus reflected on the year that had passed since Victoria first entered their lives, he marveled at the cascade of positive changes that had resulted from a simple decision to help someone in need. The financial security, professional advancement, educational opportunities, and social connections that now characterized their lives exceeded anything he had imagined possible when he struggled to balance warehouse work with delivery driving while worrying about Emma's future prospects. The transformation demonstrated how individual actions could create ripple effects that extended far beyond their immediate scope, while reinforcing his commitment to treating others with kindness and respect, regardless of their apparent ability to reciprocate. Emma's development into a confident, talented, and socially conscious young person reflected both her natural abilities and the opportunities that financial stability had made possible, while her fundamental character remained grounded in the values and experiences that had shaped her during their period of economic challenge. Her appreciation for their improved circumstances was balanced by understanding of others' struggles and commitment to using her advantages to help people less fortunate than themselves. The lessons about empathy, hard work, and integrity that Marcus had taught through example during difficult times continued to guide Emma's character development despite their dramatically changed circumstances. The future stretched ahead with possibilities that seemed both exciting and manageable, grounded in financial security and professional relationships that provided stability while supporting continued growth and development for both Marcus and Emma. Their small family had been transformed by unexpected kindness and generosity, but their core relationship remained centered on love, mutual support, and shared values that would sustain them regardless of external circumstances. The experience had taught them that while material improvements enhanced quality of life, true security came from character, relationships, and the confidence that they could face future challenges together with courage and determination. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.